Peace. Welcome to the Wednesday Sandy Hook devotion and update. My name is Pastor Paul. It's good to be with you today on this rainy day, first day of fall. Excited to be with you today, share a devotion and some announcements. First up is a devotion. This past Sunday, we kicked off a new sermon series at Sandy Hook called Grace Habits, and it's all about spiritual disciplines or spiritual practices or spiritual habits. Habits, right? We're creatures of habit. You've heard that phrase before. We have a bunch of habits in our lives, things we do on autopilot. You know, you're driving down the road and all of a sudden you're at home, you're in the driveway. How did that happen? You're kind of on autopilot. We do that with so many things. We get up in the morning, we brush our teeth, we do all these things without thinking. They're habits, right? And so we're creatures of habits, and these particular habits that we have in our lives form us to be the people that we desire to be. These are the habits that form us or deform us into the people that we desire to be. Now, that word desire is really what I want to focus in on today. What do we desire with our life? Who do we desire with our heart? And those desires will determine the habits that we have in our life. And that's deep, because we don't want to acknowledge that oftentimes our desires are misplaced, but ultimately our desires will determine our habits. If I desire to be healthy, then, and that's where my heart is, then I will point that desire towards healthy habits. Oftentimes our desires get misplaced or our desires get dormant, and then we end up developing some unhealthy habits in our lives, whether physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual. The series is about grace habits. Now, the opposite of grace habits is something I refer to as guilt habits. And in church, when we talk about spiritual disciplines or spiritual habits, we think of prayer and scripture reading and fasting and these kind of things. Oftentimes, they're not grace habits, things that we do, unforced rhythms of grace, as Eugene Peterson say. They're duties, or they're guilt trips, the things that we are supposed to do, or duties that we are if we're a good Christian, we're going to do these things, right? And so we end up having all these guilt habits in church. And so when we think of scripture reading, it's something not that we want to do, it's something that we have to do. Now, I think the series is about flipping the script. It's about helping us understand that when Jesus calls us to these practices, he's calling us to grace. These aren't things that we have to do, we're being forced to do. These are things that are about our relationship with Jesus. And if our desire is to know him, to love him, then these habits are ways that we can create space. We can spend time with Jesus, keep company with Jesus, so that we're beginning to notice him in our lives and respond to him in love, right? And in the process, Jesus transforms us. He changes us and molds us gradually over time to become more and more the people he created us to be people like Jesus. So these habits matter. And so guilt habits versus grace habits is kind of the dialogue that we're going to be going through as we go through the kind of classic spiritual disciplines. Let me read the passage that I read on Sunday from the Message translation, Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 to 30, and see if this is where you're at today. Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me, get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. Doesn't that sound good? Man, that's what I want. So often we have these guilt habits that weigh us down, and Jesus is offering something light. In those days, rabbis had these different interpretations of Torah. And so some rabbis had heavy yokes or really heavy requirements that were almost oppressive. They were guilt trips. They were guilt habits. Jesus comes along and says, no, this is about grace, unforced rhythms of grace. Walk with me, talk with me, keep company with me, spend time with me. And that's what the spiritual disciplines are all about. It's about allowing our desire to love God to know God deeply and to become the people that we're created to be, to help shape our habits, not because of guilt, but because of grace. So we're on this journey, and we are becoming the people that God created us to be as we spend time with the one who loves us the most, which is Jesus. And so maybe all of us, we need to flip the script from guilt habits to grace habits. We need to understand that these things that are classic spiritual disciplines are not something that we have to do, but because of God's unforced rhythms of grace, these are things that Jesus leads us into. We study his word not because we have to, it's because he guides us into his word, because he desires for us to spend time with him. Anyway, that's what I got for you this morning. Some announcements. Today is our beloved Bags Pack from 3 to 5. You can begin showing up at 2:30 if you're able to. If you're working and you can stop by later in the day for whatever, just notify Judy in the office. We've got a bunch of people going to be here from different churches to pack up bags to go to Camp Atterbury for children 5 to 9. So our goal is 1,000 bags, and we'll meet it. So that's taking place from 3 to 5. There is no Heaven Bible study tonight because of the pack today, and so our final Bible study, session 7 for our Heaven Bible study, will take place next Wednesday night from 6:30 to 7:30. We have a new study taking place the following week, which would be October 6th at Wednesday nights. This is going to take place on Zoom. Dale and Linda Goose are going to lead a series on the book of Psalms. This is teaching from Sandra Richter. If you have taken any of the Seedbed Bible studies, you know this is top-notch, fantastic stuff. And so that's what they're going to do. It's going to be 8 weeks, Wednesday night, 6:30, 7:30 on Zoom. If you're interested, please contact Judy in the office. There is a book, and we can get you the link to that. Let's see. We have a canoeing and picnic time, baptism, and ice cream social taking place on Sunday, October 10th at Millrace Park at the Boat Ramp Shelter from 12 to 4. From noon to 1:30, we're going to eat. At 1:15, ice cream social starts, so ice cream will be served. That's going to be cool. 2 o'clock, baptism in the river. If you would like to be baptized, let Pastor Paul know. Let me know, and we'll get you the information. And hey, everyone, let's come out and celebrate those being baptized on October 10th at 2 o'clock. And then the rest of the afternoon is playing around in the water, canoeing, fellowship. So yeah, that's that. And then there is a church workday with the trustees on October 30th, which is a Saturday at 8 a.m. So come on out and help work on different projects around the church. Yeah, it's going to be good. So, hey, that's all the announcements that I have. I hope you have an amazing day today, the first day of fall. You can see the background there, this rainy day. Anyway, hope you have a good day today. I'll talk to you.